Today on This Week in The Walking Dead, we welcome zombies into our life as we go over the intricacies of the very first episode of AMC's brand new show, The Walking Dead. Also, we've got the kill of the week and maybe some cool fan credits, so stick around. Hello and welcome to This Week in The Walking Dead, and where we go. Oh, you're going to take my hat off. Oh, thank you, thank you. Yes, that was I was trying to get into the whole character. My name is Matt Robb. I'll be the host and moderator of this panel of people as we discuss each of the episodes coming up on AMC's brand new show, This Week in Walking Dead. Beside me, of course, is Jacob Birch, master of all things cool and awesome.
And whiskey.
And master of all things whiskey, yes. Now you've got some nerd cred about you, don't you?
A little.
A little?
I was, let's see, I played, first time, I guess it's a little not enough cred because I played D&D for the first time. So it's like I'm
ever?
getting there
Okay.
for the first, ever. I played a little bit before, but first serious attempt. But I went to BlizzCon. I've devoted my entire life to Mad Men and to the iPad on this wonderful network. So
fantastic.
I think that counts.
That does count. That does count. Also alongside him is Meredith Stokes, who also has some nerdy zombie cred, right?
Yeah, you do. A little.
Yeah.
Just a little on the arm, permanent, until you're 80 years old.
Zombie ink on the arm. But other than that, you know, just your casual zombie lover.
Casual zombie lover. Is there such a thing? I don't think there's such a thing.
There's such a thing.
I think we're all diehards.
Well,
deep down.
we were going into this over. I've seen Night of the Living Dead and seen a bunch of these things, but I've never been diehard into it until The Walking Dead, the graphic novel, came out. I think book 3 is when I got into it.
Of course.
And I was in love with it. It was sort of weird that the guy at my local comic shop suggested it to me after I'd read Ex Machina and Why the Last Man and a few other things, saying even if you're not a zombie fan, you will love this. And boy, ever did I did.
And we all love it, and we all absolutely love it.
Other than maybe Why the Last Man, it's probably my favorite series.
Yes, yes. So beside me are these two. Also joining us for the very first time from G4, along with countless other things, the always awesome Chris Gore, and you've got just an entire laundry list of zombie cred, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, sadly, I owned a copy of Night of the Living Dead on Super 8 when I was a kid.
That's not sad.
That's awesome.
When I was a kid, the movie on Super 8 showed it to all the other neighborhood kids. I don't know, I just, from that movie, that really just hooked me on zombies. And in fact, when I heard that they were remaking Night of the Living Dead, directed by Tom Savini, who of course is in Dawn of the Dead, he's the lead biker who gets ripped apart and devoured, I went to Pittsburgh and basically slept on the couch at two guys who were doing makeup and begged them to please put me in the movie as a zombie. I went to the zombie school to learn how to walk like a zombie. Basically, it's like you got to take a really big crap, and you walk slow. So
crap
serious.
And walk slowly.
Yeah, yes. and then happy to play a zombie in a key scene where I got to drag a dead husk of a body out of the truck, previously played by Billy Butler, and Savini directed me in this scene, and I got to eat some sort of chewy chicken covered in Karo syrup.
Delicious.
Oh, not so
Sweet,
great.
tasty Karo syrup.
And just always love zombie films just because I feel like it's a way to discuss, just like great science fiction, it's a way to discuss a social issue in a safe way. I mean, if you look at all the Romero zombie movies, they're about racism in the South, they're about consumerism, they're about the military-industrial complex, they're always about something more. And I feel that this is why I think zombie culture's kind of exploded on us, but it's really not mainstream success, right? I mean, Walking Dead is really the first time, although if you include Dead Set from the BBC.
That's true. That's true. An amazing BBC miniseries. That was what, 3 hours though? There was only 3 hours of.
2 hours, 2:40.
Something like that. Yeah.
But who's counting? Look
right,
on IMDb,
exactly.
Add up the minutes. But I still think that zombies are still not mainstream success.
They're no Twilight.
Yeah.
Thank
God. There's no sparkly zombies.
No.
But just been a longtime fan and watched every zombie film that I could get my hands on. And what's funny is that they, we've all seen a few episodes of Walking Dead by now. We're a little ahead of the game.
Just
luckily,
a little.
Being in the media. I don't think they've said the word zombie.
They haven't.
Geeks.
They use a different word.
Geek?
And walker.
Walkers.
Yes, yes. Because I think that's a thing. I always wondered, because, you know, in Shaun of the Dead, they never wanted to say it.
Yeah.
They don't say the Z word. Never say the Z word, the dead word.
Which reminds me of your hat. Walker, Texas. A little bit of Walker
Little
with your
Walker,
hat.
a Walker, Texas Ranger. Exactly.
Yeah.
So when they say Walker, it's just a bunch of Chuck Norrises or Chuck Norri chasing after them. But I mean, we've all seen the first episode by now. And a little segment we like to do called the Kill of the Week, which a lot of us have agreed on. You have not.
Are you and I in an agreement on this?
I kind of like your idea better.
Okay, well, I picked it, and I didn't listen to them.
Screw you.
Yeah, what do I know? So let's actually roll that clip. Our Kill of the Week, or my choice for the Kill of the Week, for episode 1 of The Walking Dead. So let's roll that.
Little girl.
This is the cool part. I mean, the fact that it's the cold open, and they set the whole precedent for the show. Okay. Because if you're, let's face it, AMC fans, they're used to meth dealers and guys in the 60s. They're not probably
in the 60s drinking whiskey.
I'm sorry, yes, whiskey drinkers of the 60s.
Come on.
They're not that inundated in the zombie world. I mean, you're trying to make this appeal to an audience that is.
Here's the scary part.
Oh, that poor little girl. That poor little girl. And that right there sets the precedent for the entire show. I was sold. I mean, I read the books, as did all of us, but that scene made me just geek out a little bit for the rest of the series, and I cannot wait. I mean, if you raise the bar there, how much further can they go on AMC? You know, you can get away with some shits. You can get away with a little bit of nudity on AMC, but now
teeny bit.
Just a teeny bit. Just an areola, not a nipple. Just an areola.
Side boob. There's a lot of side boob.
Lots of side boob.
To reference the Mad Men, we got full frontal on.
What?
Tell
me, it wasn't John Hamm, was it?
No.
Okay, good.
No, we got it was a picture in a magazine of a nude, but it was.
Oh, that doesn't count.
But it was.
Was it them being meta? Were they being meta by
No,
chance? Oh, of course not. Why would they be meta on the show?
Yeah,
just
never.
Community. Those are the only guys
Never.
that can be meta.
Anyway, so to Dieter,
yes.
I thought the Kill of the Week was actually the one they didn't really even show, which was I don't think they even mentioned the character's name in the first episode, but Morgan.
Yes.
The man who sort of has a safe haven in his house, or I guess a house he sort of abducted, and it's his wife.
So you think that? Why do you think that's the Kill of
Because
the
I
Week?
think it's the emotional peak, really, of the entire pilot, and to me, that's what separates The Walking Dead not from every zombie, piece of fiction, but a lot is the real emotional investment you get in these characters trying to survive a very dire situation, as opposed to just really cool kills of little girls. Sorry.
But he killed a little girl. He shot her in the head and she died.
Yeah, but at that point, I was waiting for that kill to happen, and I was biting my nails. Like, no, this is gonna be so sad. So that I was more attached to than
So you guys were attached to it because of the emotional.
It's what
Yeah.
makes
Emotionality.
It sets it apart from just regular zombie kills, just mowing down zombies, which obviously I'm sure is gonna
which is
happen.
fun.
Which
I have
is still
nothing
fun,
against it.
Yes.
But
So we are at an impasse then.
Yes.
Chris, you saw the pilot. What do you think?
That is the zombie kill of the week. You are actually correct. That's
Yes!
the correct answer.
I win! I win the
because
game.
2 against 2 is not a win.
I'm trying to think in zombie movies previous to this, if a child zombie. I mean, there is in the first Night of the Living Dead, that girl's she's not quite a little girl. It's more of a teenager.
Right.
The girl in the basement. But yeah, that one it's just shocking. It sets everything up. I mean, it really tells you this is not going to be The Walking Mad Men, which would be a great show of dead advertising executives walking around
drinking whiskey and it just pouring out of them like a Daffy Duck cartoon.
That would be great.
Yeah,
I would love that show.
Jacob would love that.
Oh yeah. Anything that involves whiskey, Jacob is down.
Jacob's good
this
for
is,
it.
by the way, the running gag of me on this network. I'm pretty sure every
This Week in
show I've been
Whiskey.
on.
This Week in Winos, and you host
my
it.
dad is not a fan. Everybody's like, "You're not drinking too much whiskey." It's like, no, Dad, I swear it's just a joke.
Don't worry, his car service is all set.
It's all good.
Good.
Yeah, he gets
Good.
picked up and dropped off. He's not an alcoholic at all. We swear.
Thanks.
You got it, buddy.
I got another call coming waiting for me now.
So 2-on-2, basically, we feel the little girl death. Not
That's
only
the
is
kill
it
of
the
the week.
death of a little girl, which is kind of a big deal. He shoots a little girl zombie or not in the head.
Yeah, but it's also the man's wife, someone that he had all this connection to. Rick
No, but wait a second, look.
Rick doesn't have connection to that little girl. He sees her on the street, and that's it. But the husband had this connection to his wife. She's now a zombie. Having to put her out of her misery, that holds so much more weight than a girl that Rick doesn't know in the beginning.
And it's
Although, wait a second, though. I would think that the opening kill, also, if you've shopped at a Walmart and seen annoying little kids, is kind of wish fulfillment.
That's true.
How many annoying kids have you seen at Walmart that probably would be better off as zombies?
Exactly. So it was cathartic for us fans who hate little girls.
Right.
Exactly. So, all right, fine. You know what? Maybe next week we'll all agree on one. We think that it's probably not. That'll be in the 6 episodes that the show is on. One of the biggest things that I thought was interesting was the pace of the show compared to the comic. I mean, we all read the comic, and the hospital sequence in the books was like 3 pages long. Yeah. He wakes up, he wanders out, he sees just desolation, and moves on. In the show, it's a good 20 minutes of him waking up.
But I think you need to do that to make a either television or movie adaptation of something like a graphic novel like this, where in a graphic novel, if you get a full page of something, it's telling you, dwell on this, look at it. And you can't really do that in a movie. You can with really, really precise direction, but it's much easier to just make it a lot longer. Every time they chose to make a scene that was only a few pages and they extended it out, I absolutely agreed with. I thought it was really well done. I have no qualms with it.
No qualms.
No qualms.
No qualms.
No qualms with
you and I, we're gonna have a lot of differences along this series of shows.
I mean, that's, as you point out, that's what's great about the comic book. Yeah. I mean, the comic book, the reader sets the pace, and in this case of the show, Frank Darabont is the reader. He's the one setting the pace, and what I like about it is that he really gets you to think about the humanity. I mean, that really is what it's about. It ends up really being a soap opera by the end, where that is, you know, where these people have to deal with this insane circumstances that they're under. And I do like that they're sort of grappling with that humanity, having to kill, as you pointed out, you know, his wife.
Yeah.
As though it was the kill of the week, but you know, you don't have
Yeah, exactly. The kill of the week. I think kills of the week should be fun. They should be fun.
Why are you breaking this family apart?
Oh, killing mom.
But that's why AMC, it's so perfect that this is on the network, because it's basically what we've always said is Lord of the Flies with zombies. That's exactly what The Walking Dead is. And it wouldn't have worked on any other network. HBO, you would have expected too much from it. HBO, you would have expected lots of TNA and a whole lot more violence. Yeah. But this network,
there's nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong with that.
And what's also better about cable networks is that they invest in these shows. They don't just say, well, we put it on as a mid-season replacement, it didn't do too well in the ratings, boom, it's out. They really invest in these shows, and a lot more. I'm talking about HBO, AMC, Showtime. When they do, because they understand that there are geeky fans like us. There's a whole ancillary market with DVD and download and blah blah blah. So they understand that capturing the geek quotient, whatever that geek quotient, if it's Mad Men or this, I believe that as opposed to major networks, the cable networks have learned to respect the audience, and they will love you.
And that's important. That's the most important thing. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. I mean, if it was on NBC, we wouldn't be here.
We would not be here.
It would suck.
Yeah, it'd be pretty awful.
It'd go about 3 episodes and then get canceled. So that's pretty much how it would go down. Another thing, the accents is what bugged me, and we've actually talked about this.
It was rough around the edges, and we saw a rough cut, so I'm not sure what will translate when it goes live. It was the accents alongside some of the green screen action was a little...
It was a little iffy. It'll be, it'll definitely, I'm sure it'll improve.
And that's fair.
Did you see it in standard def?
I thought.
Well, yeah, you did. See it in standard def, unfinished.
So we'll see, and I will reserve judgment on that. But nothing can fix the accents, and I think I like a lot of pilots.
ADR can fix the accents, just so you know.
That's true. That's true. A little bit of looping can fix anything.
A little looping can fix it. I didn't think it was that bad. And then also, I mean, look, people come out of comas, they end up talking like they're. I mean, that's. Well, that's you know. If you're paying attention to that, you're not. I mean, I think really, I was caught up in the drama.
I don't think it's just paying attention. Like,
did you see that scene? They killed the mom. I was all caught up in that. I didn't care about the
scene where he's shooting at the car, waking up at the hospital. It is a noticeable and jarring difference.
It didn't bother me.
Didn't bother me at all.
Didn't bother me.
Yeah.
I know, like,
the 2-on-2.
Well, I know you guys pointed it out. I mean, but like it honestly didn't faze me watching it.
Not at all.
And that's it only bothered me a little bit. It took me out for a little bit, and I was in and back in. And for having there being like 2 moments of that in a pilot, that's normal. That's fine. I'm not. It wasn't that. I wasn't like scared or nervous that it's going to be like this way the whole rest of the show. So it didn't take me away that much, and I'm sure he'll get it down.
I'm sure
he's a British actor.
Exactly.
So.
I mean, 6 episodes in, there's not a lot of room for error, but there's definitely enough place where they can all get comfortable.
And it was auto-renewed for season 2.
And we've got 13 episodes coming up in season 2, which is going to be fantastic.
I think he was amazing as Rick Grimes.
Absolutely. Andrew Lincoln was fantastic.
He
was fantastic. It was just the accent was very harsh in the first scene with him and Shane, John Bernthal in the car, and then later on, and then we had discussed this.
But isn't it different? Like if you hang out, like, look, I'm from Detroit. I hang out with my friends friends from Michigan, and I start going into a more nasal Michigan kind of accent when I'm hanging out with them. Then I come back to California and I kind of lose it. I think he was hanging out with Shane in that scene you're talking about at the beginning. He's just a little more country, and then he gets away from his buddy Shane, and he's not so much.
Yeah, a little more rock and roll.
You know.
I think it makes more sense that a British actor did one scene really early on to.
You're dead wrong there, Sonny. Dead wrong.
But that outside of that, I mean, I love Andrew Lincoln. I thought he was fantastic, and they kind of plucked him from the BBC, which was great, which was excellent, and they kind of brought him into this, and I think it was very cool. Another thing that we had actually talked about is the relationship. Like we had said, they kind of have to go into way more depth in the TV show than they did in the comic, because you have to jump into it. In 6 episodes, it's going to be very different than the arcs in the books. But they kind of alluded to Rick and his wife having a problem way early. We had no idea that in the book until later on.
Right.
But that sets up for the Shane cheating, which kind of comes in later on, and also very prominent in episode 2. Which we have not
talked to, but
what I heard. So I heard it happened. Yeah, no, but I mean that's kind of a big deal. And I mean, how did you guys feel about the changes between the book and the first episode? There were a lot. There were a good amount of changes.
I am not nervous yet.
Okay.
I mean, you need to take artistic license to be able to play up some of the more plot as opposed to character-driven development, as it is, not only in TV just sort of in general, but especially early on in season 1, and then maybe they can backpedal and go more into character stuff. But nothing really popped out at me as going way too far away. I don't think they're going to be able to get away with it too much. I think they're going to have to stay pretty true to the book. Maybe not, but for a long-running series, it'll be interesting. I can't think of too many shows that have gone on, longer than the mid-series that needed to stay true to something like this.
Right.
Something like maybe Battlestar Galactica, where it basically said, we're going to go in a completely different direction.
Starbucks at chicken braces.
Yeah, don't even worry about it. Whereas here, they're giving us we're going to stick to the story. And for them to stay very, very close and then jeer seems like unlikely to me.
Well, I got to say, I really didn't miss Boxy not being in Battlestar Galactica. And I think, we were at the Comic-Con panel, actually, where they talked about that, Robert Kirkman is involved in the series, obviously. I mean, he wrote one of the episodes, and they're going to stick close to the comic, but they're going to have different results.
Yeah.
Characters who lived are going to die, and maybe some characters who died are going to go on further.
Yeah, because that was the best part about the book.
Yeah.
Is that you had no idea in any episode, in any issue,
random.
somebody could have died. A big character could have just gone.
Yeah.
That's why I stopped reading it. I was so depressed by the end of the certain book. I was just like, no, I'm going to take a break from this.
But that's what I like about this series. They're not adhering so closely to the comic, and I think that would actually. That wouldn't be very satisfying, because then what's the point in making the show? I mean, there's got to be some divert.
I think it can go like here and like that, but it's. I guess my argument is you can't just do this and completely separate. Remove yourself from that, because if you get that far along away, you're losing the original sort of genius of that.
And you alienate the fans.
Well, I'm told they're going to stick fairly close. And in fact, they even talked about actually, when they released it on DVD, of actually having an option where you could make it black and white the comic.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, they've already had that in mind.
That's pretty freaking cool.
That's
at the
awesome.
Comic-Con panel.
That's so cool. That's so cool. So that's the most important part, is they're sticking to the fans, and fans love it for that. Actually, when they first announced the show, an indie director and animation artist actually put out his own version of the fan titles that he was hoping they would use, and Gail Ann Hurd said she loved it, and a bunch of different people. We actually have it. If we could roll that, it's fantastic. You got to watch it.
Shines in the autumn sky, growing cold, the leaves all die. I'm more alone than I've ever been. Help me out of the shape I'm in. After the fires, before the flood, my sweet baby, I need fresh blood.
I mean, that's amazing. That would get me excited week to week, and seeing that as the opening after some kind of cool zombie kill.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it's better than the actual
absolutely
ones that they picked. I mean, because also an ode to the comic, but you never know what the reasons are for I mean, there's contractual reasons for how many frames a certain creditor on screen. So,
right.
But that guy, it's a great reel for
Absolutely.
the guy who did it.
Yeah.
And
he's got some quotes from Gail Ann Hurd, said she thought it was amazing. She's like, I wish we could have used it. It was absolutely perfect. I mean, that's cool when you get the producer of the series to say how cool it is. That's all you really need. I mean, sure, a paycheck would be nice, but I mean, that still makes it worth his while. So I mean, that proves that there is just a diehard fan base for this comic. So they really can't do that because they will completely alienate all those people, and it'll just ruin it. It'll be terrible, But that's exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing in the first episode, which is what we loved, and maybe in future episodes.
I'm curious how this may impact the show, may impact the comic.
That's true,
choices, because now Kirkman is writing the show. The fate of these characters, the long future, we're talking season 4, 5, whatever, I mean, he's coming up with it. So I'm curious if there's any interaction between Darabont and Kirkman over the final fate and what a finale, because I think that's one of the things, we've all seen some of our favorite shows, Lost among others, where the season finale, maybe it lived up, maybe it didn't. I mean, we'll see. But I think that now TV's going through this new golden age. You have the opportunity to, tell the final story. It didn't work so much for me with Battlestar Galactica. I liked Lost in retrospect. I think that actually works. I don't know how they're going to wrap up Mad Men. I have no clue where that's going.
It's all an autistic kid's dream with a snow globe. It's all how it comes back to that.
Right. But I mean, I'm just curious how they would wrap up The Walking Dead. I mean, it's.
Well, and what separates The Walking Dead from both this golden age of TV, where the creators are setting it's going to be a 5 or 6 season show, and then we're done, and really this golden age of sort of short run comic series, is that Kirkman has sort of said is like, as long as I feel like writing it, I'm writing it. I have no end in sight, which it's going to be interesting him writing the TV show, in the early years, and then writing the comic book later on, not having really an ending for both, at least in the foreseeable future.
But what's good about Walking Dead, if the characters die, they can just go on as zombies.
Exactly.
Zombie Rick Grimes in season 7, I can see it.
Not to ruin anything
Zombie
in the book.
Rick Grimes! Spoiler, sorry.
That's okay.
So look at me reading comics. All right.
But we have established, like not a lot of people know that they kind of end up in a prison. That's kind of a main story in the book. I mean, do we feel like they're going to get there in season 1, or do you think the way the pace is, we're not looking at that?
That may be mid-season 2 at best.
You think so?
Yeah. But that's, I think, where the comic really just had me. I mean, I loved it just because it felt like zombie movies I grew up with and loved. But once it got to the prison, I thought, well, that's what I would do, because your whole thought, and this is why I love anything zombie, is it forces the characters to make moral and ethical choices. It forces you to say, well, I'll go back and I'll save that hot girl. I'm just going to be out for myself. Forget you guys. I just don't want to die and be bitten and turn into a zombie. So I love that aspect. And you think to yourself, well, if the zombie apocalypse happened, where would I be? Would I be somewhere where they had lots of Monster energy drink and free laundry to do that you could get your laundry done?
Yes, you'd be at Sears.
Where would you hold up? Would you be at a Costco? So I love thinking about those fantasy, what would happen in that kind of apocalypse.
Well, bringing that up, since we are talking zombies, say zombie apocalypse happens tomorrow. Where do you hold yourself up in? Where are you?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's all up here.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be somewhere remote.
Okay.
Where because I do think if you stay in the city, you're screwed.
Right.
I think you stay in
too many alleys.
Yeah, there's just too many places where something can go right at you. That's one thing I do also like about the show is Bear McCreary of
Love the Bear.
Love
the Bear.
Has done the soundtrack for Walking Dead, and what I love about it is it's not cliche.
Right.
It's not that jumping out at you. It's the choices he's made. I think are right on, because it feels like something completely fresh. Whereas a lot of zombie stuff tends to, after a while, seem derivative. Although I think Dead Set's probably one of the best things.
It's fantastic. If you haven't seen it, Dead Set basically is what would happen if on a Big Brother set the zombie apocalypse happened and these contained group of people had no idea that it was happening, because you're in the Big Brother set and there's no real outside connection.
Or if you're on a show like this and then everyone outside was killed as a
in Walking
And we all
Dead.
thought that we were still being videotaped.
We're just talking, we're still doing our thing, and then the zombies come in. What would those people do? And it's fantastic. It's so good.
It's amazing.
And that's the great thing about British television is that they'll tell the story and then they'll walk away. Like, we're done. We told our story.
Good.
We don't need to go into like season 6 or season 7. We don't need to worry about that.
No,
stuff.
I do think you're right about that because you can tell a story in a shorter amount of time. I think that you get bogged down in like so many. I think Lost being the best example, where there are those episodes where we're stretching. There's just not enough story. I think that
we're going to tell Pablo and Nikki's story.
for
now.
me,
It's like, why?
7 Harry Potter books could have been told in 3 Harry Potter books.
No.
7. Oh, Voldemort, he's coming. You just watch. He's definitely coming to Voldemort. Oh, he's gonna. And then with the last Harry Potter movie, I guess it's 2 movies.
It's too much to tell, man.
Voldemort better had frickin' get here already.
He's on his way back.
Oh my God. Oh.
It's worth the wait.
Zombies.
Yes.
Yeah, back to zombies. Thank you.
Well,
Thank
zombies
you.
and
Yes.
wizards are kind of in the same. No, they're not. Not even a
No,
little
no,
bit.
no, no.
But that's
Yeah.
the cool thing. I mean, Dead Set definitely. I mean, hopefully, Walking Dead will be to American broadcast television as Dead Set was to the BBC because it was a huge deal out there.
Yeah.
It's huge. I mean, as big as Big Brother is out there, which is great because that's
Well,
basically.
the one thing I'll say, having seen all the episodes of Dead Set and seen the first 4 Walking Dead, Walking Dead is definitely less funny. I mean,
Okay.
Dead Set is pretty freaking funny.
It is.
It is intense.
Walking Dead is it's serious drama. It's not, laugh out loud funny. Like Mad Men, I think, is one of the funniest shows on television.
Despite being clearly dramatic, right?
Yeah, right. But it's such a subtle sense of humor.
Matt Weiner wrote a lot of comedy before he started Mad Men, so
Yeah, it's melodrama comedy. I don't know. It's a
Well,
Let's
classic.
talk about Harry Potter, but let's
But
go
back
into
to,
Mad Men.
we're diverting on too many
whiskey.
shows here.
Yes. See, there's too much to talk. See, this is the first episode because we've covered all the things we want to talk about for the first episode, except for the fact that the music. Bear McCreary might have done an amazing job, but the most intense scenes are the ones where they had no music playing.
Okay, and that's what I love also. There's almost an overuse of music. I mean, I think in Battlestar Galactica, I love his score for that, but I think the music was in every scene. And I mean, I'm trying to think of, Adama takes a crap on the Galactica. And there's just, epic music to that.
Of course.
Which I bet it would be kind of an epic
Yeah.
crap if you think about it.
It's true.
I mean,
So say we
very
all.
serious man.
So say
Edward
we all.
James Olmos is
So say
awesome.
we all.
But yeah, I do like the use of sound in it is amazing. Those
Yeah.
silent moments which really build tension.
Yeah, if you watched it in HD, make sure you watch it in some kind of surround area. We watched it in surround, and the Foley mixing, the fact that he had the light flickering in the far background, the noise of the light flickering, that's so good. That's the most important part, is the fact that you're inundated in that world of zombies and just madness. That's the best part.
I have to almost tangential remark. In the trailer,
We can't have any tangential.
No, you have to disagree with
Potter,
everything
Mad
I
Men.
I'm
say.
Captain
This
Tangential. I mean,
this is no disagreement. In the trailer, Meredith and I were talking during the fan credits. There's a song, "The Sun Ain't Gonna Shine Anymore." by
Yes.
the Walker Brothers. Is that
Yeah,
right?
the Walker Brothers.
And it hasn't appeared yet, and it might just be a
I'm
trailer only
waiting
thing.
for it.
I would love it to make an appearance somewhere down the road. 'cause
Well, do you think that they'll kind of take that road? Because a lot of shows do that. They have that epic montage at the end of the 40-minute episode where they kind of show all the different things happening and where they're going to go, and they have something playing like, Goodbye Horses or something really ironic that doesn't really fit the scene, but it kind of works. A little Q Lazarus.
To me, it's going to be one of the things. It might either end the season or it's just not going to appear. It was a trailer.
So that
only
one
thing.
song. So you're waiting, you're holding out for the
we
one
do that.
song.
It is a great, because the funny thing is it adds a little, not of humor, but a little bit of lightheartedness and a little bit of like, we know what we're doing, we know it's a zombie movie, and it's going to be a little bit of a happy song, but one that sort of makes sense towards this.
well, that's certainly something this series premiere was not lighthearted.
Yes.
No.
It's not very lighthearted.
Not very lighthearted.
No.
But also, it didn't seem that expensive. If you look at it, I mean, there weren't a lot. I mean, once he gets to the city, there were a lot of CG shots, but for the most part,
I had to run a tank, but
well, the tank is expensive to
Where
rent
they
a
blew
tank.
the budget.
Yeah, that's where. All right, listen, we've got the tank, but we can only have 2 zombies on the scene at a time.
Done.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't know if you caught Darabont's cameo. He plays a zombie in the herd at the end of the episode, but he's
Oh,
definitely in there.
you know
So if
what?
you
I didn't
DVR'd
notice.
it, play towards the end at like the 52-minute mark or something like that, and he shows up in his Hawaiian shirt and shaved head and goatee. That's 100% Darabont.
Wow.
So he squeezes himself in there. Do we know if he's coming back to direct more episodes? I know that he's exec producing the series.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
I'd have to imagine he'll
Check IMDb, although IMDb actually kind of, I'm suggesting do not look at IMDb, ruins some of the future Walking Dead episodes based on who's in it and who's not in it.
Yes.
Oh, right.
Yes.
So you may not want to look at IMDb because based on the absence of certain actors, that kind of reveals certain things.
But it also does the opposite because it's wrong. I mean, there's only 6 episodes in the season, but we know that a cameo in the next couple episodes is Michael Rooker of Mallrats fame, and on IMDb they have him credited to all 6 episodes, but he's not in the pilot. He's nowhere to be found in the pilot.
That's true.
So
They're
what up,
trying to trick
IMDb?
us.
He's in promos.
He's in promos.
tricking us.
So Norman Reedus and Michael Rooker, probably the two geek-tastic names they have in the series. And I know we're talking about season 2, and they make it to the prison then. Fan casting for Tyrese for me, Isaiah Mustafa. Mr. Old Spice. 100%, man. He wants to act more. He was in an episode of Chuck. He wants to be Luke Cage. I don't know why, but he does. This would be perfect for him. This would break him into the comic book world, and then people will then have eyeballs on him. So I'm going to say right now, Isaiah Mustafa.
Then look at your man. Now look at me. Yeah.
Now look at the zombie. Now look at me. Now look at the zombie.
He's great. He's great.
He's fantastic. And he's got that kind of bulkiness, but he's not too big.
But
Like,
it sucks for superheroes, black superheroes, because pretty much, and this goes to just like, I guess sort of rooted in the time in which a lot of comic books were written. Every superhero character that was black had black as part of their name. There's Black Flash,
and Black Panther.
Black Panther,
Yeah.
Black Lightning. They weren't really creative on the names.
Not so much.
They weren't really creative. Just sort of add black to the name.
Well, Luke Cage was a hero for hire, so he
That's
just didn't have a
right.
job. He just didn't have a
yeah.
job. He was just doing his thing. Everybody else was
I did
black
like
something. Black
the
something.
Falcon, Captain
Black
America, the Falcon.
Well, it
When
was
he
Black
was
Falcon for a while, and then they changed it to the Falcon.
Yeah, I just think it's sort of like I don't think it's racist. Like I just think it's like rooted in its time. You know,
It is absolutely. But that's my fan casting though. Isaiah Mustafa. So if we see it, then it'll Frank Darabont can call me
he would
and
be
thank-
great.
He'd be fantastic. He'd be
can see that.
fantastic. But that will season 2, season 3. Who knows when they're going to bring Tyrese in? At this rate, I mean, they're going like you said, up and down and up and down. So we may not even see the prison until maybe season 3.
I hope that they end like the first season with them like finding the prison.
That'd
'Cause
be
I remember
great.
reading the end of that comic where like you see the prison, and you just know it's gonna be horrible. Like
Right.
you know bad things are gonna happen.
Bad things are going to
or
happen.
really good things.
Yeah.
Good things happen in this comic book.
Yeah.
A little happiness.
A little
funny
happiness, a lot of
rabbits.
sex. A lot of sex. And there is going to be a lot of sex in the AMC show,
It wasn't
too.
the jail, it was actually the farm that sold me on the series.
When they get to the farm.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, no.
Well, hopefully we'll get there soon, too. I mean, we've got 6 episodes,
Yeah.
and they've got a lot of ground to cover. So we'll see. And then 13 after that. So I know that we'll definitely be in it for the long haul.
No,
We're
but,
actually-
no, but wait. Now, I'm curious about this because you know vampires have been getting all the press lately from geeks. Are zombies the new
Geeks? Wait,
from,
hold
from
on,
geek?
hold on,
okay,
hold on,
not
hold on,
geeks.
hold on, from geeks?
From people.
You don't watch the Vampire
people
Diaries?
around on the internet. But I mean, are zombies the new vampires? Have vampires kind of run their course?
I don't.
I know there's a television series that is in pilot form at NBC. Zombies and Vampires. It's a police. I'm serious. It's
Yeah.
a police
I believe you.
procedural set in a distant future in which
Derek is freaking out.
in which zombies and this is true.
Yeah,
in
girl
which
school.
zombies and vampires. I've only read the synopsis. In which zombies and vampires exist, and zombies are sort of treated with some. It's basically you get a prescription at the store and grandma's okay. She won't try to bite you. So it's
Zomboff, if you will.
yeah. So it's
I don't-
interesting that NBC is doing that series. I don't have a lot of faith when it comes to network television doing anything genre based. I think they always screw it up.
You got an Ordinary Family going on, though. They just picked up a few more episodes. 'Cause
Yeah, well, if they start using their superpowers at some point,
It's the
it was sort of like
And
Heroes.
Heroes was
Yeah.
good for a season. then
Heroes
it
was
went
good
to
for a
tank.
season, then it was like, are they heroes? What are they doing? Are they ever going to get into costumes? Are they ever going to do what superheroes do in comic books?
No.
Even if they could have done an episode where a character tried on a costume and thought it was stupid, that would have been creative and funny. Heroes completely lost me, and they screwed it up.
And I see it going the same way. That said, I don't. Until they can find a way to cast cute boys as zombies, which I don't think is going to happen, I don't see it going the way. of
Zombie
vampires.
Bieber. I see it happening. Zombie Bieber. If it becomes popular enough, why wouldn't he jump on that
And
train?
you'll get another call. Zombie.
There's
Bieber,
zombie every. There's zombie what?
Bieber.
There's zombie Star Wars,
Yep.
Marvel zombies, the Zombie Sears catalog, which you can.
So
But
good.
again,
Which
you're
is
going
really cool.
You're
Yeah.
going the geek route. The vampires need to hit a mainstream audience, and I don't see it happening. I think it's too sort of.
We need the zombie love story. That's what we need. We need like Twilight had the vampire love story.
Too much fun, by the way. He's trying to play too much of a role.
Yes.
I see zombies.
There's a really good
strippers
collection of short stories, sort of set in the George Romero universe. God, I'm spacing on the name of this book where there are two zombie people they're dead, who were lovers, who basically they end up eating each other.
It's not Boy Eats Girl, because that's a separate it's an indie comedy that they did where the guy becomes a zombie and then still tries to fall in love with the girl, which is kind of cute. I mean, zombie movies like that will always have a place on instant Netflix, which is great.
Oh,
no matter what.
That's
like
the perfect.
Snow.
But again,
that's where bad zombies movies go to die. Go to be downloaded.
Netflix
Yes.
And Derek wanted us to or tech guy wanted us to studio manager Derek, happy about that. Wanted us to mention Pride and Prejudice and zombies, but again, I think these are things that are tailoring more to either the hardcore geek audience or like the fringe geeky audience, not the people who are reading Twilight. And without a Twilight, there is no vampire.
So are you saying that we sitting here are sort of a subset of geeks, like Doctor Who fans?
Exactly. I think so.
Well, see, and this is where I think it does get a little...
Like, we're the type of geeks that get made fun of by other geeks? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, it could be worse. It could be zombie geeks.
I think this is where zombies actually do make a bigger step in that I am not a zombie geek. I'm not part of that subset, but I was drawn in with the same things that drew me into a lot of other sort of geeky
But you're a geek of many other shades. I was going to say, you were just talking about not having a girlfriend and not getting laid.
And this just became This Week in Therapy, and he's done. Good night, everybody.
This Week in Your HJ.
So this might become more of a mainstream thing in geekitude, but not in mainstream audience, because there can't be a Twilight or a True Blood with zombies.
Is it because zombies are gross? Like vampires are sexy, zombies are gross.
Well, vampires have always been sexy. Right? Yeah. I mean, that's the whole thing.
If you're a necrophiliac.
Well, no, I mean, Anne Rice made vampires sexy. I mean,
sorry, she said zombies.
No, vampires. Vampires are zombies are sexy, man. Who doesn't
There
love
is that one full frontal naked zombie in the original Night of the Living Dead, if you remember.
That's true. That's true. Who doesn't freeze frame on that every week?
The girlfriendless Jacob freeze frames a few times.
The girlfriendless Jacob. We're actually going to get that on a lower third.
Yes. Can we
can have
Derek?
that. Yeah, we'll work on that for next time. So that does it for the first episode of This Week in Walking Dead. We've officially beaten a dead horse back to death and back to life again, and
eaten it a few times.
This is the end of the episode. We're done.
This is the end.
Okay, no, wait. What do we say at the end of every show?
We say aim
for the head. Aim for the head.
Aim for the head.
Aim for the head.
All together now. Aim for the head. Just me now. All right, cool. That's awesome. Just me.
No. If you cue us, we'll do it.
And ready? And
aim for the head.